it's always a good idea to get away from these for a while and to get back physically away from them for a while. And then you see things, all kinds of things. I see all kinds of little things where I need to tweak, and that's not so bad when it's just tweaks. So let's start out with the hair. So, of course, I've got to add more color in here. That's not even the part that's concerning me. I like it close up, and it, you know, makes a pretty good statement with the little highlights in here and stuff. But when I get back from it, this area in here feels too heavy, maybe up here too. Feels too heavy and big, kind of like when you see an elderly woman that's got a wig on that doesn't really fit. It's just got a little of that feel to it. So what I'm going to try to do, and I've looked at this and thought about it some, I don't need to trim all of that in, but I need more openings in it. It needs to feel more airy. And some of it, it wouldn't hurt for it to go back a ways. So fortunately, I still have the greens that I was working with before, which is very fortunate because I want to just patch these in little places, but I want them to match exactly what's there so it doesn't look so patched. So because the background's darker now, this is fairly easy to work with. I'm not quite sure how this is going to look though. So I'm going to do one spot at a time. This could be a little opening right there. You know, where you're just seeing through the hair. Maybe right there. Oh, excuse me. Some of these other areas could just be enlarged. Like I said, I want to open the hair up so it feels lighter. Like there's not quite, it's not quite so heavy. So I've got to pull some of that up. So again, it's not a matter of jumping in here and just running amok and doing this. Even though it's just hair, you know, you still want to put some thought into it. Now, I think that this will dry enough lighter. If it doesn't, I'll just add a little water to it and blot it because it is so fairly heavy color here. Some will come up. Okay, now down here, I really... Now this area down in here was lighter. Oh, I didn't want to get that spot. Okay, let's blot that. Okay, still a little bit dark because I used the wrong green. Okay, we'll just take a touch and add it in over here so they match. And I want those areas to do what they're doing down here. Let's maybe just open a little more of it up. There. That's better. I really think that this up here, this is light in the picture. It's a very light, thin area, and unfortunately, I've made it darker there. Wait a minute. Instead of jumping in there and darkening it because I think I have no choice, why don't I lift? Let's see what'll come up here, and let's see if we can lift and lighten what and how that'll look. If it doesn't look right, then I'll come back in with color. See, that still looks too solid. But I still think it'll read better even when I put some green in, that it's lighter here. I got that too dark, which makes it look solid. Remember, it's backlit, so the thinnest areas are the lightest because they're catching the light. The areas that are more solid or have, you know, something in front of them, like her head, those go darker. So I can't work on this anymore until I dry it. Let's come in here and let's get a little bit. Let's do a little bit more of this. This area right here is way too full, and I really think, okay, I need to be careful here. That's a little spot right there. Now that's too solid right here. The thing is to get a shape that's believable. Here's some hair coming, a curl coming this way. So let's, oh, I hate to, oh, you know what, I don't like that because I've repeated this shape in here too many times. But unfortunately, I've done it. Let's blot it a little bit, make it a little weaker at least. See, too many of these negative shapes are similar. Very similar. They kind of line up boom, 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 and I didn't want that. Maybe I can put another little shape right in there and do something like that and stop it. And you know, you can always just come in and put a dab like that. And I hate to use the word dab because sometimes people interpret the word dab as an excuse to go boom, 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 boom. And that's not what I mean. All right, this is a lot lighter. And I want these highlights in here, but okay, so I'm going to dry this, and I'm going to set this up on my easel and look at it and think. This isn't enough. I need to open up some more areas, and when I do that, I'm going to lose too many of my whites. And so I'm going to come back with white ink. We're gonna go here. Yep. We sure are. That shape doesn't really quite make sense. We're going to put a place in here too. You know, I make these little kind of crescent shapes. They kind of work with hair. I don't know what to do here. Okay, I'm going to, you know, when in doubt, look at the picture, look at the photo, pay attention to the photo. I hate having so many of those curl shapes kind of doing the same thing. But that's really what I'm seeing right here, is something there. And then there's, I'm just going to make a okay. Now, we're just going to come in with some white ink. see, where else did I think I could thin this up? You know, this whole thing here comes out too far. This doesn't really need to be there at all. This whole shape right here. There may have been a little something there, but it wasn't like this, and I think it's just too big. Oh, this, you know, this is scary and this hurts. It just almost hurts because it's so scary. See, that still looks too chunky. She's got a lot of pretty fine curls here. Whoop, didn't mean for the brush to go that way. Okay, that works though. And fortunately, we have enough activity in the background that some of these strokes don't, they don't quite match, or they look kind of choppy. They'll still work. It's sort of like if you were pruning a bush. You know, you get going on it, and sometimes you don't know when to stop until somebody else comes along and says, "Oh my God, what have you done?" Okay. Okay, let's stop there. Let's stop there. So when that's dry, I'm going to add some white ink in. And I've got to do other things on other curls. But what I'm really concerned with is the face. Okay. Now I'm looking at the skin. And it looks worse on camera than it does in real life, but it still needs some serious help. So I'm noticing several places. Let's pick up some Queen Coral to start off with. Let's see what we can do with just Queen Coral. So one of the places I'm noticing is I have an area on her cheek that I have pretty pink here. It's pinker than real life, but I like it. So this cheek needs to match, and this cheek needs to be a little darker here anyway. On top of the thumb, it needs to separate from the thumb just a little bit more. And then this area in here, on camera, this little divot here above the lip looks way too dark. Here in real life, not so much, but this area on either side needs to darken a little bit, especially right in here. This is too light. So let's start out with some real thin Queen Coral. And I'm just working on dry paper. Remember, it's not as absorbent now. I don't know how that works because it has less sizing, but it's got more paint in it. You know, some people take the sizing out. I use the sizing, and it dissipates as I work. I think that's too much. Maybe I'll just a little bit more right there. Some of the things I'm doing right now are so dang subtle, you can hardly find them. This area right here on the nose needs to change. I'm going to make a pencil line right here. It's a little bit darker on top of the nose than it is out there. And right here, that light area is sliding into the nose too much because there is a highlighted area there. But I want, let's see, if I make a line from here to there. Okay, about like that. Well, I made 2 lines. That's not too swift. This is art gum, but it's a little bit cold and stiff and dirty. Yeah, it picked it all up for me. Okay. Yeah, this is a shape that comes more out here. So I've just put a hint of it down with my pencil. Because, see, that helped me find the right place. And you can see I was able to take it up when I didn't like it. See, I did all that just to show you how to fix it. Okay, now we're on dry paper. And I think I came down too far with that. Because this part, sort of the ball of the nose is, oh, I need to lift right there. The ball of the nose is too dark right there. Okay, so now we've got this little shape going up, and I can't lift right now because it's wet. And I see a little bit more color coming down here. It is very slight, but it's there. So now let's soften the edges on that. So I want to deepen this, and I decided I don't want to go any bluer. It looks pretty blue on here, actually, or that is pretty gray. Well, I've got some gray in there, and this needs to go a little bit darker. There's a little light spot right there. I'm not going to put it on that. Can you see how I'm just barely putting anything on here at all? I should have washed my glasses before I started this. I don't even know how to describe what I'm doing here. You just have to maybe be able to see it. I may have to lighten this slightly, but it's actually that dark. I don't know. I say it's actually that dark, but okay, I need to cool this area. In fact, I need to lift right there. And this area is dry. That's too shadowed. You see how this gets lighter right there next to the crease? And remember, I'm just pulling with this. I'm not really scrubbing around. Oh, I think that's got it. Look at that. And this area right here going up to the tear duct is a little bit lighter. I got too much color there. Again, I'm pulling with the brush. Even though it's a very soft brush, I'm only pulling with it. That looks about right. I think I'll not blot that. Just leave that alone for right now. Could use a little more of a gray in there. Okay, let's get this dry. Okay, she's still got a little bit of that ski nose look. What I need to do is lighten this part right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm working very gently there. Oh, needs to come over here too. Especially over here. Now I'm doing the brush a bunch of times, but I'm just barely touching the paper with it. Trying to be very, very gentle. Got to look at that and think, yeah, we still need to lighten right there a little bit. Just a little bit more. That's close to what I'm looking for. This is where there is no paper like 300-pound arches. You just can't do this with another paper and get that subtle of a thing going on there as what I've got right here. I think that could probably use a little more pink right there. I mean, these adjustments are so minor, but they change the shape of the face. If this was anything other than a human face, it wouldn't matter. And if this was just a child, not a certain child, it wouldn't matter. Ah, we need a little bit of a light spot coming down up under there, just barely, but I can't do it right now. Let's go back and get the white. Oh, yeah, this reminds me, there was one other place I decided that I needed some more green. Now, if I could remember where that was. Oh, dear. I had it all planned out. Now I don't see it. Well, I'm doing something right there, but I don't think that's where I saw it before. Okay. Skip that then. So we're going to get the white ink. And what I'm going to do is where I put the whites in here, I'm going to put the whites in on top of, not on top of the green so much as on top of the hair itself. So that'll slim it up a little bit more. So I'd better have a really clean brush here. And see, there's water floating around on top of this white ink. Okay, so I kind of loaded it about halfway up. And now I'm doing that. I may have to change brushes. Let's see what I get with this. Oh, I've got a better brush for this than this. And here it is. Okay. It's one of those, it's a stiffer brush. It's a synthetic. It's one of those little Lou Cornell brushes that some of us bought. And it has a terrific point on it. I got a couple that were a little bit larger because some people really liked them, and I don't like painting with the larger ones at all. It's only this small stuff that really works for me. So let's give this a little more action. And you notice, okay, I've got the paint where it's flowing off the brush. There's a real good chance that I'll have to go back over that after this dries, that it won't be light enough. Let's pull this curl. Well, it shouldn't go on top of that. No. So places like right along here. And if you put this on real thin and don't go back over it, what happens is when it looks really strong right now, but when it dries, if it's too thin, it can actually make the area duller instead of brighter. Okay, a few spaces like that. And then up here, we want to make a lot of this white. See, an area like that, that might dry darker. You can actually glaze a thin layer of white on something and have it be darker than it was before you glazed it. And that's just because when you go opaque, you go duller. And so when you go opaque, you have to make it more, that is when you go white, opaque, you have to make it opaque. You can't have it just sort of light. It just doesn't work. I like that softness, but so you can add some little thin little thingies out here now, because those thin little thingies would be catching the light and they'd be really light. Okay. Again, this is one of those things where I need to get back away from it. I'm not going to outline every bit of hair because that's not very, going to be a very good thing either. Okay, let's stop that, and then I need to mix some more of this light hair color. Apparently I have, wait a minute, what's that? No, I don't know what that is. That's not it. I need to mix some of the lighter hair color, and there's a little tweak I need to do right there because the head's not shaped right. Now, I don't remember how we mixed the hair. Naturally, I wouldn't. But I'm pretty sure it had a little Naples yellow in it, which would be unusual for me to put Naples yellow into hair, which is probably why I think I remember it. Okay, then what did we use? Did we use a little bit of red, a little bit of blue, and then add some burnt umber into it, I think. Somebody out there made notes. They'll know better than I do. That might not be too far off. Well, let's just try it. Yeah, I'd say it's not far off. And some of this area then down here, there's actually a light spot on the skin. It's got this light glow that I've lost. What I'm more concerned with is just this area just doesn't feel right. It feels too flat. I think maybe I need a little more curl over in here. Need to deepen inside the ear a little bit more. We'll come back to the hair some more in a minute. So, wouldn't you know it, that's the place that I just cleaned the queen coral out of. Give her a little more ear shape in here. And there's something going on with the ear up here, and I'm just making a guess at it because I can't really see it, and I really shouldn't be even trying to make something there. Okay, so I think some burnt umber would be called for here. we could deepen some of these curls. I went the trouble to lift that out before, so I'm not going to fill it in, even if I should have. See, a lot of this needs to get darker. I think I dipped into the wrong brown. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah. Well, no, that looks the same. So I'm just picking up burn umber straight out of the well, which is the problem, is that I need to dip into the right well. Of course, I didn't get these curls, just, you know what, that needs to go dark. I did not get these curls just like the curls. And the thing would be that maybe I should have paid more attention to them. I know a lot of y'all kind of just put stuff in, and I kind of put stuff in too, but I tried to make it a little more like the curls, but I kind of lost my way. And the direction that curls go, the things that they do, our brains notice if you make them not do what they should. Even though it just looks like a very busy situation at the time and that no one would care about one way or the other, you can tell. Oop, that's not wet enough. Paint needs to flow off the end of your brush. One of these things goes over another, and we have to decide which is which. I'm going to make this the over on top of the other. Although sometimes it might be dark or darker going over. I mean, lighter going over. Here. We got to have something going here. This is just, this is not believable. Doesn't feel right at all. I'm going to take a little bit of that hair color. I'm going to put in with some burnt umber right here. So I've got kind of this little fawn color. I don't know what that is. It's not what's there. And there's a lot of areas up in here that need to go considerably darker than they are now. I just lost the beauty of her curls. I did not get them the way I wanted them. Now, if I was painting this for Queen Elizabeth, maybe I would spend more time. But I'm painting it for you. And most of you have already done the hair. Okay, this fawn color also needs to come right up in here because I raised a hairline up where it doesn't belong. Right up in there. And some of this is just little bits of fuzzy hair, and so I can't really tell the shape of the forehead, but I think I've got too big of a forehead, so I'm softening the edge there. I think I'll put a little more color on that when that's dry. Maybe. deep in a spot there. Okay, let's come in here and let's... Oh, this is still really, really wet. You can see I need to do more hair there. Oh, the main other thing that I wanted to show you was I'm still bothered about the shape of the nose. And a lot of people did really well with this nose. There is a highlighted area. It is very slight and, you know, small and weak, but it changes the shape a little bit. So I'm lifting there. Here I'm pulling sideways. And I don't know that I can quite do it. It's just a little bit too small for me. See, here's the thing. The more you do things like this, the more minutia you see. But in the case of a human face, those little minor places make a difference in that you and your viewer can see those places. You see them in a way that you don't see anything else because your brain is so tuned in. Oops. See, she's got a lot bigger curl here. It comes down over her eye. And then I need to put more darks in there. I think I need to cool the tops of the hands a little bit more than what I have. Let's try one. Oh dear. Well, that looks pretty severe. Well, let's just wet it down and move it around a bit. But I got to tell you that when you add a blue that has no white in it, it can have a lot of impact when you put it on top of skin tones. It can make things go a whole lot darker. I think that's actually going to work. If it doesn't, a little white ink on top of it will probably fix it. We need to do a little bit of the same thing over here. Oh yeah, we really needed that. Yeah, that's all I can say is that I know some of you aren't seeing everything. I mean, you see a lot, you see more than you ever saw before, and that's exciting. And then the next time you see even more, and the next time maybe you see even more. If you concentrate and pay attention, you will develop that ability to find things that you didn't even know were there. The same thing with color. If you've been painting a while, you're probably seeing things with color that you never noticed before. Just like I noticed that little shape up in there that probably no one cared about but me. That's a little bit better. So, I won't call Claire quite finished. I need to do work up in here. But those are the little touch-ups that I wanted you to see. Most of you are through with Claire, but you're doing some little almost people. Most of my portrait people are doing the almost people. But I have a new one for you to start next week. So, and it's in the mail now. That is, it's sitting outside in the mailbox now. Okay, there's Claire. And that's pretty much Claire. Okay, bye.